Hey there. In this training, we're going to talk about the benefits of mindfulness on your performance, and then we're going to discuss 3 different ways that you can begin training mindfulness for yourself. So let's get started. Now, when we're talking about the benefits of mindfulness, we have to start with what actually is this idea of mindfulness. Well, mindfulness is a term that's used to describe a state. It's a state in which you are completely in the moment. All of your attention is centered in the here and now. Another way that you can kind of describe this is when you're in that flow state. Everything is just going very easily. That's a little bit different because you may not necessarily be in the present moment just because you're flowing. But when you think about mindfulness, think about being completely centered in this moment. It's all about your focus. You're taking your focus, you're removing it from the outcome, right? You're not worried about what's going to happen at the end of this at bat. You're not worried about, am I going to make this shot? You're not worried about, are we going to win this game? All of your attention is in the here and now. You are fully focused on whatever you are doing. Now, when you think about yourself as an athlete, right off the bat, do you kind of begin getting a sense of why this is so powerful? Because where is your performance taking place? Your performance is not taking place in the future. Your performance is not taking place in the past. Your performance is taking place in the here and now. So if you can give more attention and bring more of your focus into the present moment, that means you're putting more effort and energy into where actually your performance is taking place. And that's going to lead to greater success moving forward. So it's very clear that mindfulness does improve athletic performance. But now let's get into a little bit more detail and look at some key areas that when you begin improving mindfulness and practicing mindfulness that are going to be developed for you as an athlete. So number 1 is improved focus. Whenever I'm working with an athlete, I always like to say mindfulness equals focus training. Because for you, if you're wanting to be more focused as an athlete, what does being focused mean? You're always going to be focused on something. So being focused means controlling your attention during a game or during practice and putting it on what you want to put it on. Why would you be putting your focus on the outcome? Why would you be putting your focus on a past performance? When you're playing, when you're practicing, you need to be putting your focus and your attention on the here and now, right in the present moment. So if you begin improving mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, to where you can get into that mindful state, that is going to help you improve your focus. Number 2 is that you're going to have less anxiety. The reason you're going to have less anxiety is because anxiety lives in the future. When you have anxiety as an athlete, it is because you are worried about what is going to happen. Maybe it's what's going to happen in a negative way. Maybe it's what's going to happen in a positive way. But either way, you are worried about what's going to happen in the future. The more mindful you can be, the less anxious you're going to be because your mind and your attention, your thoughts are going to be placed in this present moment. And then benefit number 3 is you're going to have reduced rumination. Ruminating thoughts are those ones that just are racing in your head over and over again and you cannot seem to control them. Think about going into a game or maybe going into practice where you just have all those racing thoughts. You don't even really know what you're thinking because there are so many thoughts in your head just running 1,000 miles a minute. When you begin practicing mindfulness, this byproduct of that daily practice where you're sitting down, or you're going for a walk, and you are trying to control your attention, you're trying to bring your attention into this present moment, over time that practice reduces those racing thoughts. So going into a game, you're not going to experience so many uncontrollable thoughts. You're still going to have thoughts. You're still going to have negative thoughts. Your mind's not going to be blank. But there's not going to be so many racing thoughts and those ruminating thoughts that you just can't seem to control. And then lastly is that you're going to be less reactive. When you talk about being reactive as an athlete, what comes to mind? For me, what I think about is emotional reactivity, especially after you make a mistake. After you make a mistake, if you become very reactive emotionally, where you get upset, you throw something, you hang your head, you start cussing, if you can't let that go, that's going to be carried with you throughout the performance. That's where one mistake then turns into 2 mistakes, then into 3 mistakes, 4 mistakes, and so on. If you can be less reactive, meaning you do not respond emotionally, you do not respond by having negative thoughts to making a mistake, then the more likely you are to fail fast and put yourself in a position to succeed moving forward. When you practice mindfulness, and you gain the ability to control your attention and bring it into this present moment, you are going to be less reactive to mistakes. Mistakes are not going to be setbacks, be triggers for you to get really frustrated and upset, because you are going to have the power to control your attention and bring it into this present moment. And if your focus is on the present moment, you're not going to be focused on the past mistake. You're not going to be so reactive, so upset. You're going to have more control over yourself. So that's another benefit that you're going to experience from practicing mindfulness. When you look at these, it becomes very clear that if you had improved focus, less anxiety, less racing thoughts, and you were less reactive to mistakes, that is going to help you be a better player moving forward. Even just one of these, improved focus, for example, if you were more focused during practice and if you were more focused during performances, that in and of itself is going to lead to greater success for you. So now, how do you actually go about performing mindfulness and practicing mindfulness? Well, mindfulness is a practice. I keep saying that, a mindfulness practice. The reason mindfulness is a practice is due to the fact that it needs to be done on a daily basis. Mindfulness, when we're talking about it as a state, right? In the beginning, I said, what is mindfulness? It's a state of being completely aware, completely in the present moment. For you as an athlete, though, that's not easy. It's not easy for anybody to do, especially when you're in the middle of a pressure-filled situation, you're in the middle of competition, you got fans screaming, you got the coach yelling at you. It's not easy to be in that mindful state. So we need to train mindfulness. And the way that you train mindfulness is choosing a specific technique that you want to do and employing it on a daily basis. This doesn't need to be 45 minutes to an hour. We're talking 5 to 10 minutes every day, maybe 15 minutes every day, where you are practicing controlling your attention. Now, I'm going to go into the 3 different techniques that I want to show you. But first, what I want to do is cover a general idea of what it actually means to train mindfulness. One of the kind of responses I get from the athletes I work with when we're talking about mindfulness, or I introduce them to this mindfulness, is that they're not good at it. They say, I couldn't control my thoughts. I kept having all these different negative thoughts come up. I started thinking about what I'm going to do later. I just couldn't control my attention. And I said, well, that's great, because that is providing you the opportunity to train mindfulness. You see, the actual act of training mindfulness is when you notice your attention becoming fixed on a thought, and then you return it onto your breath. And that is really where we're going to be placing your attention when practicing mindfulness, is on your breath. Because number one, it's a really great way to make sure you're practicing some deep breathing and calming yourself down. But also number two, it's just the best thing to focus on that is in the present moment. Because no matter what you're doing, if you're focused on the sensation of breathing, your attention is in the present moment. So whenever you notice your attention drifting, right? Whenever you start thinking about how stupid this is, whenever you start thinking about what am I going to have for dinner? Oh gosh, what's coach going to think of me for that mistake I made in the last game? Whenever you have any of those thoughts, you want to work on noticing them, recognizing them, and then just bring your attention back onto your breath. Don't start saying, oh God, I suck at this, because you don't. That is the act of training mindfulness. It is noticing your attention drifting, bring it back onto your breath. Noticing your attention drifting, bringing it back onto your breath. No matter which of these 3 techniques you choose to do, that is the base principle. It is noticing your attention drifting and bringing it back onto your breath. This may even be as fast as you can control your attention for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. But you know what? Next time, go for 1.5 seconds. And then in a month, you're going to be able to control your attention for 10 seconds before you notice it go onto a thought. It's all a process of growth, but you can't get upset if right now you think, oh, I'm not perfect. Well, of course you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect at controlling their attention. It is the act of practicing that is going to give you the benefits that you want. So with that being said, the first technique is mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation is where you get into a comfortable position. Maybe you set yourself an alarm. So let's say you set yourself an alarm for 5 minutes. You sit in a chair, have your back straight, right? Get comfortable. Then you just close your eyes and you begin breathing deeply. It's as simple as that. Then whenever you notice your attention drifting, you start thinking about something, just bring your attention back onto your breath and just keep doing that over and over again, over and over again. Then when the alarm goes off, you're finished. With that, I just recommend doing it 5-10 minutes to start out with. The next technique is a mindful jog or a mindful walk. When you're doing this, I like to recommend doing it for a certain amount of time within your walk or within your jog. For example, If you're going to go on a 25-minute jog, only say that I'm going to practice mindfulness for 5 minutes. Set an alarm on your watch or set an alarm on your phone. And in that 5-minute period, you're really just going to focus on the sensation of your breath, breathing in and out, breathing in and out. It's not going to be as calm as with mindfulness meditation because you're running. In this, you can also focus on the rhythm of your feet, right? The rhythm of running. It's a very repetitive action, which also helps with this. And then the third technique you can use are mindful tasks. Mindful tasks are going to include washing the dishes, taking a shower, sweeping the floor, mundane tasks that you do just around your house that don't require a lot of thinking. They're just very repetitive, and you can get into that state where you just focus on bringing your attention into the present moment. And then when you see it beginning to drift, you notice your attention drifting, just bring it back into the present moment. So those are the 3 techniques that you can use to begin practicing mindfulness. Like I said, mindfulness is a practice that needs to be trained on a daily basis, not for hours on end. We're talking 5-10 minutes at the beginning. But if you begin training mindfulness on a daily basis, you will experience the many benefits, including improved focus, less anxiety, reduced rumination, that are really going to help you improve your performances as an athlete. So I encourage you to take up a mindfulness practice for yourself, 5 to 10 minutes a day, and commit to that on a daily basis. I hope you enjoyed this training, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out 2 new trainings each week on sports psychology and mental training to help you build a championship mindset. Now, speaking of a championship mindset, in the description below, I have a link to a free training I've created that walks you through a step-by-step exercise where you will create your own championship mindset. Therefore, you'll know what's the exact mind frame that you need to be in order to perform your best on a consistent basis. So go ahead and click that link and take that training for yourself. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.